What we're going to do is simulate a test on contaminated water from the RIO Bay. So we're going to pour water in 2 of the aquariums. We're going to apply OSE II. We're going to take samples before we apply OSE II, and then samples tomorrow after we've applied OSE II 24 hours. We'll also do 7-day tests, 14, 21, and 30-day tests as well. So now what we'll do is measure the contaminated water, put it in the aquariums to establish our starting volume. I should have these already on.
Tem que composar. Bota um pedaço assim, escreve. Não vai usar essa mesmo, não? É pequena, né? Não é isso não que for necessário. That's one. Good for her. Aquela água também, aquele vermelho. Two. So we have 2,000 milliliters of contaminated water from RIO Bay in each aquarium.
O que é lá no pai?
A gente faz o seguinte, a gente bota naquela jarra ali e amanhã passa pro pote para levar para análise.
We will use the rest of the water in this for the day 0 sample.
Só encontrar aqueles de
You're okay, you're okay.
Pode ligar pro telefone de vocês aqui à frente.
This bucket represents sediments from the shoreline of RIO Bay that appears to have human waste and oil mixed with it.
Ali a pressão. Vamos lá, Elias.
Vai lá. Ali. Solução.
Come and grab this handle, Robert, and set this down over there.
What do I?
Can you grab the handle? Yeah. And they'll set it on the counter or on the floor.
Sem um negocinho.
Where? Where do we put this? On the floor, anywhere.
Nossa, não é pra ser nada de lugar. Porque ele está com só depois que tiver uma autorização. Pode causar impacto dentro de
Hey, my hands are fine.
Aí o cara bota essa
This represents 1,000 liters of sediment mixed with ocean water. We will add an additional 1,000 liters for 2,000 liters of ocean water to mimic when we spray OSE II on the bottom and stir up the sediment. It's going to go into suspension into the water column, so we're going to make a water column for it to go into in the aquarium to mimic what will happen in the field. Couldn't you?
Ninguém vai saber se o negócio foi coletado lá.
Okay.
Lá não sei. Sabia também? Então, isso.
Yes, hold that.
Senão eu estou preocupado muito com
Get close.
2,000?
Yeah.
inclusive pode crescer até chamar de.
Nossa, não pode. Aqui, vamos lá.
Okay. The sediment with the oil is quite hard, more like clay. Again, Robert. Stop. Two more. Hold it. Yeah.
É bom que você conseguiu fazer a palavra.
Stop.
Obrigado.
Tell me. One minute. I'll put a full liter in here. This is 3,000 milliliters. Stop. So this represents 4,000 milliliters or 1 liter of contaminated water. Robert, get OSE II.
More than one bottle?
Oh, yeah.
How many?
Just get one more ready. We're going to apply 200 milliliters of OSE II concentrate. in this one.
Qual foi a fração?
We're gonna measure this.
Isenta viramos para
I'm gonna need that one. We're going to apply 100 milliliters in this one, half of what we put in the first one.
Está sendo.
Uh, 100 milliliters in this one. And we're going to put 300 milliliters. I'm going to need another one. 300 milliliters in the sediment and water. There is some oil in here, the way you can see OSE II beating up initially. So there is some oil content. The thing I dipped it with. Scooper up there? What we're going to do now is stir the sediment as if we were injecting OSE II on the bottom of the RIO Bay to see how fast we can break it up and bring it into suspension. It's in suspension. So it takes, and you can't see any oil on the leaves, so it took us about 20 seconds to remove the oil content from remaining on the leaves or the sediment, and by breaking down the oil, the sediment is now broken into small particles and now is more bioavailable so that the natural occurring bacteria can utilize it as a food source. Fast.
Vai quebrar essas paradas, eu quero ver que vai quebrar mesmo.
Okay, back up. The next thing we'll do is, as you know, the RIO Bay is carbon loaded. The carbon loaded is, or the RIO Bay is loaded with carbon, and so we'll need to inject oxygen to help break down the contaminants in the water. So we will now turn on an air pump, and we will run this experiment for 30 days. We're going to take samples, as I stated, 0 days, which is today, before we applied OSE II, 1 day tomorrow, 14 days, 7 days later, 14 days later, 21 and 30, and we'll develop a degradation curve to show how fast OSE II will remediate the contaminant in the water and the sediments and remove it from the RIO Bay so there is no more contamination. We only have one. Hang on. So already the smell is diminished greatly. It's a little stronger here than in these two, but this has sediment involved in it as well. You can see the foam. The foam is the biosurfactants in OSE II. That helps break down the molecular structure of hydrocarbons or the grease and oil that is contained in the human waste that came from people running their sinks and dishwashers and bathtubs into the ocean. So the biosurfactants are doing their job. Enzymes will form protein binding sites on all the carbon to induce the indigenous bacteria in Brazil waters to utilize the human waste, the oil, as a food source. This should happen quite rapidly based on how fast this reaction is right now. And what we'll do now is let it run, and in a month we'll look at the results to see where we stand. Thank you.